There are probably a number of different hurdles to implementing SEL across a school or a district, and I'm not sure that I could point to one. I think there are several that come to mind. One is that there is a need for a critical mass of staff members and the community to believe that social and emotional learning and development is important, and for there to be the development of a shared understanding and a group commitment to make this significant in our school or in our district. And that can take time. There are a lot of people who don't understand and don't necessarily agree that it should be a priority. And that's even more true at high school level and even middle school level. It's, I think historically elementary teachers have seen the education development of the whole child as an important part of their mission. And we have a challenge that begins in middle school and intensifies at the high school level, where many people see their role first and foremost as teaching their subject matter. Not necessarily even teaching kids, but teaching their subject matter in a way that makes sense to them. So it can be a stretch to recognize that I, as a teacher, have a broader responsibility for the education and development of young people. There's a lot of recognition, and we hear this from schools and districts, that one of the things that they need to provide for is adult development, is really the professional development of adults that has two emphases. On the one hand, we're focused on teaching and supporting young people. We also need to support us as adults being able to model the competencies and skill sets that we're trying to teach for young people. Certainly it doesn't work to develop competencies in young people if we're modeling something entirely different. If students will learn as much from what they hear and see as from what we say when we're teaching something. So it is important to provide for professional learning of adults and adult development. Then there are lots of different competencies that we can be explicitly modeling for kids in the context of helping them learn the competencies themselves, whether it's communicating effectively or demonstrating respect or problem solving or managing our own emotions. All of these can be challenging for adults in the classroom setting, and it's important that they become better and better models. School leaders play a critical role. On the one hand, they need to be the champions of efforts to develop social and emotional learning and development as an important goal in their school, and the development of a plan to do that. They need to champion that. They need to be able to articulate a vision. That's one. A second way in which leaders need to operate is to really be able to model what it is that we're talking about when we talk about social emotional learning and development, to model the competencies, to model the skills. And a third is to really build a trusting adult culture where adults trust one another, where they collaborate effectively, where they, indeed are engaged in and using the competencies that we're talking about. We're big advocates that the classroom needs to be the foundation of a comprehensive approach. It is the place where you are interacting with every single student, where you're touching the lives of all students. So that's the place where you can help on a regular basis to build competencies and use those in the course of classroom life. It is important, especially important in middle and high schools, that be done authentically, that it be in a meaningful context. So for example, if we're expecting students to work in cooperative groups, we need to teach some of the skills of participation and collaboration. We need to teach them how to problem solve and deal with conflicts that arise. So that's a meaningful context. If they're going to have to work in a cooperative group, in a classroom setting, that provides a meaningful context for learning, developing skills, learning competencies, and applying them. And so we need to look for those kind of meaningful, authentic opportunities and integrate the development of skills and competencies into our classroom around those.